I recently got a notification from CEENR. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, so that's why I'm just spelling it out. But they make replacement battery components for various 18-volt tools, even 20-volt in some cases. So they said, would you be interested in trying this out in your garage? And I said, of course. So they have a multitude of companies that they support: DeWalt, Milwaukee, Makita, Craftsman, Black & Decker, Bosch, Works, and Porter Cable. I have a set of 18 volt Bosch tools, and although the batteries are still working, their option is much more powerful. So I got a 4 amp hour and I think a bigger battery from them, whereas the stock battery from my Bosch tools is 2 amp hour. Well, here's the set. That's their big battery. I'm going to do an open box with you, so I'll open it up in a minute. But the nice thing about their products is some of them actually attach directly without any modification, and then in other cases, this is a standard kit that has an adapter that goes with it that is built specifically for your product. So going back to that list, if you have a tool, a cordless tool on this list that I just read you, and it's I guess it's 18 volt or 20 volt, you can go to their website and see if they have an application for you and the adapter, and you can buy the kit. So what I want to do is, again, open box this, share it with you. I'm going to use it on my Bosch system, and we'll see how they work out. Now, I've done a couple videos where I had to rebuild the batteries for two tools. One is Harbor Freight, and the other one is Hyper Tough, I think it's what it's called. And I got some interest in those videos because people wanted to build them, and sometimes the batteries are just not as good from those manufacturers, or in the case of Hyper Tough, they don't make them anymore. So if I get enough interest from you, if you're watching this video and you have a tool like a Harbor Freight or a Hyper Tough or some other product and you want to get some attention on that, make sure you comment below. I'm sure they'll read the comments and start to think about R&D associated with those types of battery applications. Open box time. Now, a little bit of a bonus that I did not represent in the intro is their quick charger. I asked them to send me this for a specific reason I'll get into in a minute, but let's go with the items that originally were covered in the intro, and that's their battery system. So the first thing we'll look at is this big battery. This is an 8 amp hour battery that can be charged on the Bosch unit. This is twice the capacity of the Bosch battery. So this is going to last a lot longer, and it can be charged on the Bosch battery charger. Next, we have their universal battery pack. This is 4 amp hour. This one can be used with all the different cordless drills or cordless systems that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Unfortunately, this can't be charged by the Bosch unit because the electronics are different from each manufacturer, whether it be Bosch or Porter Cable, for example. So this has to be charged by this quick charger, and we'll get into that in a second. And what we'll do now is look at the universal adapter for the Bosch system. So this obviously has the same design as the Bosch batteries, and this snaps on to their universal system. And again, this cannot be charged with the Bosch system. It has to be charged either through USB or the quick charger. So now let's take a look at the quick charge system. I've not opened this up yet. So instructions, cable for plugging into the wall, and then here's the nicely sized or big sized battery charger. This does charge much more quickly. Similar to the Bosch unit, it'll charge much faster. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and set up for charging. We'll take a look at how these charge, and I'm going to charge all the batteries with this system, and I'll also talk about what it takes to charge this through the USB port. I got the Bosch charger here for their standard battery that's compatible with all Bosch tools, and then I've also got their quick charger ready for their adapted battery. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in and we'll see what happens. All right, it's got voltage and amperage indication. This also has USB ports that you can use to charge other devices like your phone. What we'll do now is we'll go ahead and install this. Now I've got a red light here you probably can't see, but my understanding is when this goes into charge, it should turn blue. So it's telling me I've got 19.8 volts, 78% full charge, 6 amp hours available. And that's kind of interesting since this is a 4 amp hour battery. But now we'll put the this battery, which is compatible with only the Bosch tools, in here. And we'll see that it's in the charging state. So we're going to let these charge, and we'll come back when we have a full charge on both of them. The Bosch unit already finished charging in 1.5 minutes, but I had already put a charge in this and used this a little bit, so that's not a fair comparison. I made a mistake. So this red indicates that it's charging this. This will turn blue if we're using the USB ports for charging other devices. And actually, this is the rate of charge. So it's pushing 6 amps into this battery. It's not a rating of the capacity of the battery. So we're up to 92%, and it's charging pretty quickly, as they said. I guess we're up to about 3 or 4 minutes. So this thing should probably be charged in 10 minutes, I'm guessing. We'll come back and see. Universal battery is fully charged. You can see it on the display here. Now this was 70% when I put it on here. It took over 45 minutes to charge it up. That is a bigger battery. This is 4 amp hour versus the 2 amp hours I mentioned before. So that's why it's going to take longer to charge this up versus the Bosch unit. And of course, with the 8 amp hour, that's going to take even longer. Now, the thing I noticed is that this is a smart charger because the amp rate was going down. The amperage to charge this was dropping as this thing was charging up. It wasn't pushing the full 6 amps in the whole time. So it must do that to make sure that it's not stressing the battery too much. I can only guess that, but that's good. 45 minutes is not bad. I also put my GoPro wrist device in here in the USB port. That fully charged that at the same time, so that's pretty nice. Now, if you don't want to go with their fast charger, you can use a typical USB wall device. Now, these are low output, very low output. This one's 2 amps, and it's going to take quite a long time. The first time I charged this battery up, it took me a day. I had to leave it charging overnight. So these are not that effective. I'm going to link a better one in the description of my video if you want to go this route, which is cheaper. I don't think, it's not real cheap, but it's cheaper than this. But it is going to take you a bit longer to charge up one of these universal batteries to the USB port. I got the 8 amp hour battery connected after it's being fully charged. Let's see what it sounds like, how it operates. Sounds pretty good. I'm going to disconnect that and put the OEM battery on it. All right, OEM battery's on. There's a definite pitch difference. I don't know if you can pick that up in the video. But this one doesn't seem to put out as much power as that one. It might be because this is just a brand new battery, it works better. It might be because it's got a higher capacity or higher capability. But it's definitely a significant difference. Just used the 4 amp hour battery, the universal battery, on my Bosch drill to remove rust off a skid plate. And let's see where we are with remaining battery power. You can see it's at 4 lights. And now I'm charging up my iPhone. It's at 75%. I'm charging it off the USB port. After this thing is fully charged, we'll see how much power is left in that battery pack before I have to recharge it again. I have 100% charge on the phone, and we're still at full charge on the battery. 4 dots, 4 lights. Just charged another iPhone through the USB port. This one was at 35%, and I still have 3 lights left, so a lot of capacity. With all my batteries and drill options, I got a cordless power tool rack from the NattyDot store on Amazon, linked in the description of this video. This will definitely better organize my garage. Let's see what this thing is like. Here's the power strip that goes with it. All the little hangers for the various cordless drills. Actually, these are the hangers for the cordless drills. This is just for other paraphernalia. Side brackets
with more cordless drill hangers, and then the different shelves. Well, here's the instructions first, and then we got the shelves. What I'm going to do is go ahead and assemble this in high speed so that you can see how easy this is. Comes with the tool that you need. Of course, this is going to be hung on the wall, and I'm going to try to find some studs instead of using these heavy anchors. I don't like using these in drywall. That's just my opinion. But again, I'm going to do this in high speed to make this really quick, show how easy it is, and then we'll get back to the battery testing. This tool failed on me. It's already losing some metal, so I'm going to bring out my heavy duty tools and finish this up. All right, that's it. So it's put together, pretty sturdy. It's supposed to handle quite a few pounds. I need to look that up and I'll let you know once I hang it on the wall. And it's got 32-inch centers, so it should work well with the studs that I got to locate on my wall. I want to put the unit right here. I want to center it above this shelving unit here. Unfortunately, the studs are not set up properly for that. There's a stud here. I need 32 inches, so I'm going to have to use these wall anchors, which I don't like using, but we're going to try it anyway. And that's it, super simple to install. It's supposed to hold 360 pounds, but since I'm in drywall and not in a stud, I'm not gonna put 360 pounds on here. 60 pounds per shelf is what they spec. So again, if you're in drywall, you gotta second guess that. But I got a lot of stuff up here, battery chargers. I got the power strip up top that I can plug in, gets it out of the way. All my drill appliances are up here, the bits, the batteries. I got the extra lights up here, and of course 8 cordless power tools. And one thing I did, I put a zip tie right here to hold up this center section. It's not going anywhere, it's not going to break or fail, but it kind of sags, so I used a zip tie just to hold it up. No big deal, but it definitely gives me a lot more space in my drawers and in my shelves elsewhere. It's really just a nice unit, looks good, gets everything out of the way. So now I'm going to get on with the CEENR battery testing. For the end of the video, I want to do a voltage test. As I mentioned, I do at the beginning of the video. I just want to see if the voltage is consistent. Now, these are all for an 18-volt power tool like my Bosch, but as CEENR says, it's also good for 20-volt power tools. So let's see what the voltage is starting with the Bosch. This is an OEM Bosch, and we got a 20.13 stabilized out. Let's check the 4 amp hour. That Bosch was a 2 amp hour. If I can get this hooked up for you. All right, that's 20.49 for the 4 amp hour. And now for the big boy, 8 amp hour. 20.75, so this is definitely pushing out the most voltage. The 4 amp hour is the second best, and the Bosch OEM is the third, but they're all in the same range. So now what I want to do, and I don't know if it's going to make a big difference given the voltage differences, I'm going to go ahead and drive some screws into this block of wood with each battery and see if there's a difference in speed, and that'll be the final test. We'll start with the OEM Bosch. No problem getting it in the wood. Let's move on to the universal battery with the Bosch adapter. Which Try to get in the same general area. That's definitely a little faster, I have to admit. There's some juice in that battery. And again, these are all fully charged. So let's go to the big bad boy, the 8 amp hour, and let's see what this one comes up with. It is absolutely faster than the OEM battery. Starting to wear out that screw, but definitely the CEENR batteries are pushing better. That's a good battery, and the Bosch is still doing its job, but it definitely doesn't have the oomph that the two CEENR batteries have. I don't know if it's a matter of age. This one, I don't know how old this is, but I've had my Bosch systems for several years, but I did get some new tools. This is actually a new drill driver, and I believe this is a battery came with it, so it's not that old, maybe a couple years old, not even. But it proves that these batteries from CEENR are going to deliver the performance. And given this is 2 amp hour, these are going to last a lot longer. This should be at least twice as long. This should be 4 times as long. So I'm going to link all this in the description, as I've probably mentioned several times in the video, including the drill rack. And you can take a look at that and see what you think about it. There should be a discount associated with that if you go through my channel. Anyway, I like them. They're going to be very helpful, especially like when I'm going down to the dock and it's literally 77 steps down there and I've got some work to do. This battery is going to last a lot longer than the Bosch unit. It's a little heavier, but definitely a lot more power and a lot more longevity. I hope you liked it. Don't forget that thumbs up. I'll see you next time on Driving Intelligence.